Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Depending on where you are. And thank you for joining Catalyzing Change Week 2025. And today we are welcome Jurait and Lenka for Imagining School Empower Students and Transforming Communities. So over to you, Lenka and Jurait. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello.
Hello.
So I hope we hear each other well. And thank you for coming and welcome to our Reimagining School. We would love to contribute and widen your view on how you can empower students and transform your communities. So I'm Juraj Mazak, and here's my wife, Lenka Mazakova, and we are from Slovakia. We are running a school and a community garden. We have a pleasure to introduce our school and its concept to you. And our school is the only legal and first legal democratic school in Slovakia. So we also need to get a lot of exceptions from all the regulations from the government. And we luckily got that. So now, after 4 or 5 years of working towards the goal with the research, we have this information we would love to share with you today. So this is us, and where we want to start is 100 years ago when Summerhill School was established in Britain. And there was a progressive Scottish educator named A.S. Neil, and he founded this school, the world's first democratic school. He believed that children should be free to learn at their own pace without forced lessons. So he created a democratic community based on trust in children's natural curiosity and self-regulation, where students could choose whether to attend classes, and they all had equal voting rights with the teachers in the school meetings. And the school still continues to operate today. You can visit it, and providing that freedom and democracy, we also tried to establish such a school in Slovakia. So based on this model of Summerhill, we founded what we are working on, and we want to tell you more about.
We would like to tell you more about the concept of our school. So basically, it's based on relationships and borders of each of us. In recent years, we see as people are disconnected in society. People have started to disconnect from themselves. We don't know who we are or what we actually want. And it is more difficult for us to navigate the multitude of emotions that arouses in us. And it is difficult for us to navigate with it ourselves. And we want our children to feel their borders and to know themselves. So we try to make connections to ourselves, to other people, and to our environment. And we have such stories from our school which can show how we build it in our children, how it happens, how it is formed. For example, they are more sensitive to what they are feeling. For example, we had one boy with he was kind of aggressive and impulsive. And once he came to our psychologist office and he just said, "Oh, dear psychologist, I need your help. I cannot help myself," because he was so frustrated and so angry, but he was able to recognize it and to communicate it before his action hurt somebody. So we are really grateful when our children, they can read themselves, they know themselves. So this is one of our important aims, to know ourselves. And the second aim is to make connection to other people and have these healthy relationships and some borders in these relationships. For example, we see how our children in our school, they can be really sensible to what others are feeling or what helps others. For example, we had two boys, and one of them said, well, now it's time to be silent. And he said it in such voice, in such manner that the other one just calmed down, and it was better. I could say whatever I wanted. Adults could say whatever, but when his friend said something like that, it really helped.
We use teachers called to be guides. So if you happen to work in our school and you have also some specific borders, for example, we are climbing on a tree and you feel that you don't want to see that because it's too risky, you don't want to be a part of it. We have ability to admit that we have many things that you can share with the kids openly, and you can set up the borders what you don't want to join in. For example, some people don't like to see the blood. Okay, we can openly discuss that and set up a border that we are not going to do some risky things because you cannot stand seeing the blood, but it happens when it's sometimes too risky.
Or we have one guide or teacher who likes to touch people, and she had like close relationships to our students. And there was one student, they were really close. She was tutor of the mentor of the child, and she used to touch her. But one day the child said, oh, but I don't like it, I don't feel like being touched. And from that point, the guide, she really took it like it's really important to respect the boundaries of the child. So we really try to respect the boundaries and to talk a lot about these boundaries. It's important for us. And I would say also something like connection to nature or to environment. For example, we were picking we were in a national park, and children started to pick some berries. We said them, oh, no, 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 we are in a national park, it's forbidden because it's an ecosystem and we shouldn't interfere with it, and so on. And there was lots of knowledge, but also lots of values. And this is how we work. uh, we would like to share with you this, I call it butterfly. We can see here, like, we can build knowledge, but it's like one part. There are attitudes, values, and skills, and we can build it in children together. And through values and attitudes and skills, we can bring also knowledge. Like we just share something like take care of nature, and you can bring a lot of knowledge into it, like word like ecosystem and what is it like and how it works. So this knowledge it's hidden in values and in attitudes in so on.
This is a competence framework which comes from Council of Europe, quite smart organization, not to confuse with European Union. Council of Europe is working on many things which are connected with values also. And as you see, the knowledge is like only 1/3 or 1/4 of what the school should pass on to the students. And even in that 1/4, there is also critical understanding. So whenever we have knowledge, we should understand it critically. And many times we have stories again with the students where we use sarcasm, irony, and we question if they really can question us and what we tell them.
Mm-hmm. So another important thing is self-regulation. In our community, we try to form children who are able to regulate themselves. And for example, we are really lucky if our children can come and say, well, I don't want to do that because I'm afraid. that they are able to admit, I am afraid, and they are just okay with it. I'm afraid, it's okay, I'm leaving this activity, I don't want to do it. So like it's great feedback or self-reflection of the child. Or for example, we have such a complicated child with impulsive aggressive behavior, and we talk a lot about him with our pupils, and it is wonderful to see how the pupils can regulate themselves when he attacks them. They can react calmly, and afterwards they can reflect how they understand, and then they understand that they don't need to fight back, that it's just that the boy is problematic, maybe he is so impulsive, but the rest of the children, they can stand it and they can work with it with themselves, they can regulate themselves.
If we want to shorten the output of our school, I usually use the word self-regulation, exactly, because in our school you should learn how to understand yourself and how to find out if you need, for example, to go to sleep, if you are hungry, if you are feeling bad, if you need to study more to become a doctor or a lawyer. You need to self-regulate your emotions so that you don't need a fancy car in the morning to sit in. We need you to understand how you regulate also yourself in interaction with others.
Mhm. In our community, there's lots of communication and lots of conflicts, and we are searching for consensuses.
Yeah, we are searching through to consensus, but it's usually through communications and conflicts. And this is a major part, or one of the major parts in what is happening through the school day, that we are trying to deal with different views on many things we experience.
Mhm. And culture of communication is an open communication is very important to us. We also accept that there are lots of conflicts and we see them as beneficial for our students, because in conflicts you can learn so much. uh, for example, we teach our children that you cannot just shout, uh, Mark, stop it, Mark, stop it. You need to name what's bothering you. And when you name it, sometimes you realize that something completely else bothers you, or maybe that you don't know what bothers you about the other person. So we really try to make them think about what's bothering them and or annoying them, and then really like communicate it and verbalize it. And it's so difficult even for us adults. And when you lead a child or upbring him to this ability from the young age, it's so beneficial in your adult or later life. And sometimes our students really they communicate really openly to each other. For example, once a year we have such a compulsory test, and our two students were talking to other. Do not stress now when now there is the test. Next time, stress before the practice test, so they can like give a really open feedback one to one another. Like there is no use to stress when there is the real test when you were doing nothing all the year.
We have daily communities where we deal with the communication outputs. For example, when we have special committee for IT or special committee for gardening, they communicate what they did or what they need to buy, and all these decisions are made together. And usually we decide by consensus. And if it's not possible for a longer time, which means few days, for example, the boys want to go to the museum with planes, but the girls don't want that. So, for example, this situation happened years ago. They try to do majority voting. So we use both sociocratic decision making and majority voting.
Mhm. And when we really try our students to communicate this way and solve their conflicts, and give feedback to each other. We create inclusive community, and that's another of our aims. For example, we want our students to have like inclusive mindset, and to be inclusive community. And as you see in this picture, we want each other to see as every one of us is different, and it's okay. It's like that, and it's completely okay. For example, we have such funny stories from our school. Like again, children are advising one another. For example, you are such a provocateur, the biggest one in our school, but that also makes you special. And you also teach us and our guides how to react to such children. And it's wonderful when a child gives us such feedback that he sees how everyone is beneficial, how everyone can give you something, and that everyone is different. And also we have such a girl who is afraid of everything, but really she's afraid so many times. Uh, and when we give her time and support and maybe some kind of help, she she can do step by step mm, what she knows, what she is able to. And it's wonderful when we really give such time to children. They can do it by themselves, or they can just say, no, I don't want to do it, and it's completely okay.
We have to admit that, as you see on the very edge of the screen, democratic schools are sometimes exclusive, but not in a financial meaning. Many times we want people around us to be similar to us, to have the same values, to share the same worldviews. And that means that if you let the majority voting to decide who can become a colleague in our school or who can become another new pupil in our school, that would cause a lot of problems. And we intentionally try to explain why we want to be inclusive, because we see it as a value, we see it as important part of the society to be heterogeneous, because we all benefit from those differences. As you see in that picture, some people are very good at climbing the trees, some are not, and those situations are different. So we are okay with someone saying, I don't know how to do that, I cannot do that, I'm not good at it. And we try to openly express that as teachers also, and as colleagues to each other. And that's why we have many people feeling okay to express things that usually people don't express in front of others. Also, we use diverse adults, so the kids have to learn how to communicate in diverse environment. For example, if someone is deaf, they need to find out how to talk to a deaf person. So this is which is natural, and we see it as important. So that's why we intentionally create the space where you see being different as a common thing, and you just ask how you have it. Okay, this is the way how you like it. This is the way you need me to approach that. And then you learn how to do that and how to go along with people with different views, different needs, and different opinions.
Yes, we will try to embrace the variety. And one time there was a boy. There were two boys. They were about 10 years old, and there was quite conflict. And one of them said, "Okay, I cannot solve it. It's impossible with him. He's so terrible." And he got feedback from another child. Yes, but I think it is possible. You just have to talk to him differently. So it's wonderful to see how children can see the difference in people. Well, another point of our model is uh,
autonomous motivation and guidance. So what we try to provide, we are very strict at motivations we use. So in general, the background for the research we have to use are things which are connected with intrinsic motivation, which means that kids do something because they like it, or they do because they feel it's important. Sometimes it's influence of the environment, sometimes it's influence from us. But the border is where we explain that you should brush your teeth every week, every day in the evening. You should tidy up, you should flush, you should wash your hands. And this is like a border that we explain, and we try to explain more.
Mhm. Yes, we don't like to talk about interesting motivation. We use term autonomous motivation. It means that you do some things, even things you don't like, because you are you know that they are good for you. That's autonomous motivation. In few words, there were such things at our community. For example, one of our students, she learned how to write just because she liked how her older classmate wrote. So she just took a table with letters, and she started to try it, and she learned how to write just because she wanted, and she was prepared. She had 7 years at the time. Or, for example, we have a boy who really likes physics, but he realized that he cannot. He is not able to better at physics because he is poor at mathematics. So he realized, okay, I should start taking math classes, and then I can be better in physics.
We try to provide a lot of opportunities where you understand that you need some knowledge, because we understand that curriculum the government provides in different countries, not only in Slovakia, it was based on reality. The needs you need for to understand the culture, you need to how to work with for example, information stored in computers, in letters, in books, and you also need to understand how, for example, budgeting works even for a school trip. So we do accept the need, but we don't say it as a target or as a place where you should be able to reach in 5 years or so. So the important part is that we try to provide environment which gives you feedback that you don't know that. For example, if you want to play some board games, well, you do need to do at least basic mathematics because you are slowing the game down. So no one wants to play with it, but you as a young kid, you do want to play, so you need to learn few basic things that others would allow you to play with them.
Mhm. And there is another point, and it's process-oriented learning. It means that in learning we see so many processes which are like invisible. You cannot see most of dialogues children have, and in which they learn the most. Uh, for example, uh, there is we are caring for some flowers in our school garden or community garden, and we have a committee called Flora. It's about all the flowers, and the youngest children, they started to pick stuff from our garden, but it was not ready yet, and the committee needed to teach the younger children, okay, but you cannot eat it right now because it's not ready. And so the older children, they realized they need to communicate clearly with the smallest one. And also the smallest one realized, okay, so when I see, for example, strawberry and it's green, it's not ready yet. We need to wait because each flower has its like some period when it's growing and it's ready after that. So small children are learning something, and also the oldest are learning how to communicate. So we can learn a lot during processes as we do many things. Or, for example, one of our children, he liked to cut with scissors a lot. She had nothing to bring home and to show her parents, because she cut everything. For example, for 2 months she was just cutting everything. It's just process for her, and there is no product. There is just process, which is some kind, which is helpful for her.
Yeah, that is a general problem of democratic schools, that we are not focused on the product or outcome you can show to the parents or grandparents. On Mother's Day, we do not make kids to do something for their mothers. We just tell them today is the Mother's Day, and if you want to do, we will help you, or we will contribute, or we can go to the shop and buy material for you. But that's all we do. So yes, parents are quite disappointed that they don't get the product. They don't have their expectations filled. So we try to work a lot with the parents, that we are oriented on the process of learning, on saving motivation in its full, and not on the outcome where you can name all the capital cities in Africa.
Mm-hmm. And we also try to make the world transparent as much as we can to our children, because when they see the world, they can ask questions, they can observe, and then we can talk a lot about many things. And this is the process through which not only children but also we adults can learn the most.
If you think of the world 100 years ago or even sooner, most of the kids were homeschooled by their parents, working in the field, in the forest, or doing something together with the parents. So the kids knew what the parents are doing. But today in the factory, you cannot let kids to spend the day with their parents. You cannot even invite them to the corporate Excel spreadsheets to help. So many things are not visible to the kids, and that untransparency does not move things forward very much in education. Because what we do is that we print pictures of animals to the books, but that animal is very hard to find. Because if you are loud and noisy and stinky in the forest, you don't see any animals. So if you interfere with reality, it helps you much more, because those interactions are much richer. Also, the studies of the brain and memory, they very well express and support the ideas we use for learning. For example, your brain understands and remembers things better when they are happening in different environments. So it's very unnatural to sit in the one place for a whole day and read from a book, because for your brain, it's all like one thing that you are doing. Also, the process-oriented learning means that you are using more senses. You use smell, you use touch, you use many other interactions with your body, and also the motorics of the kids using fingers. You don't have to use fingers only for handwriting. You can use them for picking little berries from the bush. So all these things are very well interconnected together. And what we need to do is to let the kids see the world transparent. If they cannot understand why they should recycle, we take them to the recycling center to see the piles and piles of the trash we produce in the city, so that they can imagine, yeah, this is like one day of trash for just one city in the world.
Mm-hmm. Well, we were talking about learning as a process and process-oriented process, and we try to form our children the way that learning is a lifelong process, and to build a learning mindset at them. For example, we are going for trips once a week. Doesn't matter what's the weather. We go out many times.
It does matter to the parents, because parents think like the kids would
Dissolve.
dissolve, but we are telling them the kids are waterproof basically, so you can let them go out in the rain and they are fully okay.
Mhm.
But the parents are not okay.
And sometimes we just come to the situation that we are lost. We get lost. not completely, but just there are so many ways, and we just missed some path in the woods, but we just stay calm and say, okay, it happens sometimes, and now we need to solve it out. So sometimes we have such like natural, really natural situation when we can just find a way out from the wood or from the situation. And when we teach them that they can stay, and when we show them that then we can stay calm and just solve the situation, it's really important for their life to have this ability.
If you take kids to the forest at least once a week, that means that sometimes they're using public transportation and they are dirty and carrying rocks and sticks and many other very important things. Sometimes they smell of fire, and we need them to understand that there are different environments with different supervisors. So if a bus driver tells you that you cannot carry the stick to the bus, you need to respect the bus driver because he's responsible for what's happening there. And if you go to the theater, you cannot carry rocks and knives with you. So we need to explain them that this is someone's property, someone's castle, and they can apply their rules. And if you want to be a part of it, you need to understand that those rules are not created by you. And there are some other environments and some other organs, some other people who are running some other places. So they quite well understand, for example, that we do drink caffeine as adults in the school, but they understand that the government prohibits us to give them caffeine, for example, like coffee or drinks like cola. So this is what we try to explain. And we also admit that many times we don't know how it is. So they can see us in situations where we said that we don't know.
Mhm. And as teachers or guides, we build this lifelong learning mindset also by saying, well, I don't know. Let's find it out, or let's discover how it is. And we use many sources and try to solve it out and find answers of the children, and to show them that, well, I am adult, but I don't know everything.
Now you have AI, and now you can make fun of artificial intelligence by asking few questions, and sometimes even AI doesn't know or answers you in some really crappy way. So this is something to show them that even us, we are not authority which should not be questioned. So we try to let them know that their brain, their decision, and their responsibility is the key to understand how to move on in life with getting more know-how and knowledge.
And we really try to support their asking questions because their questions are like really, really important to have that growing mindset. For example, there was a 9-year boy, and he asked, is our Earth the second largest star in our galaxy? And we just, at first I was like, it's completely like wrong. Why are you asking such question? But then I realized how, like maybe let's ask why he thinks such thing. And then he said that he heard that like the inside of our Earth, in the core, there is so hot, like in our sun, in the sun. And that's why he thought that maybe we are also star, because if sun is star and there is so hot, and also in our Earth is so hot, that maybe we are also a star. And we could like talk a lot about it and find together answers which we didn't know either. So that was really, really funny and interesting. And this is what flourished the learning.
We definitely want the kids which come out of our school to question the world. Because if we want to improve as a humankind, we need someone to come with questions and question status quo. We need to improve, and the only improvement comes from questioning it, from asking why things are the way they are, and maybe coming with the solutions for problems we created most of the time.
Okay, let's go to another one. It's a school community. So one really important part of our community is like our gatherings, community gatherings, when everyone has one vote, adult or child, everyone has one vote, and sometimes there is possibility to strongly don't agree, strongly disagree, like with both hands. You can say, no, I cannot live with that. So children we teach them that they really can express themselves and say, I agree, I don't agree, here is my argument, I don't agree because, and really have these argumentations. And also to show them that they have voice and that they can talk, or they can ask another teacher or guide to please say it instead of me, I have such problems. So we also try to support it and help them. And once there was such situation that our youngest pupils, about six, they were 6 or 7 years old, they were playing a role play on a lord on and his dogs. And a guide went by and said, oh, if I had such a bad lord, I would bite his shoes and furniture. And after the pupils were thinking about it and they were left alone, and they said to each other, well, she is right. Let's have a dog community gathering. So they are bringing these voting communities and voting gatherings into their place as they are playing, and they really they know that they have voice and that they can use it, and they are used to talk together and come with some agreements together.
Also, the school community understands that people don't want to spend much time there. So they understand how to delegate and how to create more organs. As, for example, mentioned the committee for gardening or IT committee. We have, I guess, like 10 committees now. And they understand that the decision-making process can be also delegated, and execution and rule-making. They understand how the society can work, because in our school we have direct democracy, so you can see yourself in many positions, being, for example, a voter to decide something, or for example being a judge in the conflicts where you need to talk to the people and try to mediate the problem in between. Sometimes you are accused, sometimes you are coming with the solution, and you need to get people to vote for your solution. So all these things are happening, and teaching them how democracy can work. And as they become growing more and more, they understand that they can influence the school itself with the power of their vote they have. And many times they are not interested, but we will get to that soon.
Mm-hmm. Well, this was about self-governance. That's what's very important in our community. For example, we have these committees, and also one gathering when we meet together. It's once a day, 4 days a week. And then there we can bring what we need. Many times teachers are bringing more than students, but when they really want, they can bring it there. For example, we had such funny story with kiwi. At 10 o'clock we have snack together, and we have there some fruits and cheese and so on, and children were like happy, oh, we have kiwi, we should have kiwi more often because it tastes good. So we said them, okay, let's bring it to food committee and they can buy more and we can have it more often. And then they said, oh, okay, I don't want to bring it, we don't want to call another committee, we want to play. So we just saw that, okay, it's not worth for them, so they had less, so they don't have more kiwi.
We all choose our battles, and this way the kids can understand that they need to use their power when needed, and they also have to choose what they are fighting for and what they are not. Many times they express very, very emotionally that they need something, want something, or so. But if they are asked to contribute, even with something little, for example, make a formal announcement or suggestion proposal on the voting place, they don't bother with that anymore. So sometimes it's like us, the voters, complaining, but then doing nothing in the real democracy we live in. And we would love them to understand that they really have the power and they need to move on, because there is no one else who would fight for their needs or wishes if not them. And this is how democracy can thrive, if everybody is executing their rights instead of waiting for someone else or something to happen on its own.
Yes. Okay, let's go to the last one, and it's free play. We see that children from up to 12 years, they play a lot. Most of their time is filled with free play or many other types of play. For example, we have a big sand pit or a mud kitchen, and there happens so much. Or in our Lego pit, also, uh, for example, they construct there, they debate, explain, have argumentation. As you see those little 6-year-old boys as they battle about something and exchange their ideas, it's like wonderful to see how they really try to work with arguments.
Sometimes it happens that they cannot find a solution that everybody would be satisfied with. So they make a pause in that, they go to the gym, they take some foam sticks and fight about it literally. And we just check them if they need to drink, if someone is not bleeding or so, if they still consider it being having fun. And yeah, that also helps.
Yeah, and they also through free play they can like learn that okay, I can try and make mistake and then try to correct it and make it better. So they are just making mistakes and they are in their flow, and in that they can really like go through many obstacles when they really want something, when they are in the flow, and they learn so much for their lives.
One important things which happens, especially if you have mixed age group, is that they learn how to ask for help. Because usually you see more experienced people doing things more effectively. They are bigger, they are stronger, they are more durable, or they are just more fun. So they do ask for help, and they know that they can ask because they can admit, as we teach them to admit by our example, that I cannot do that. I don't know something, and let's do it together, and maybe we will find something which would fit both of us.
Okay. So thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, we are delighted to answer them.
Yeah, we have some in the chat, I hope, because there's something in the chat. So let's see. Okay. Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat, but if you have some, now is the time. If you have any. Or we were so great at explanation of how it works that you don't have any questions. Question about age of our kids. We have kids in Slovakia. It's called primary school or primary education. Kids start at age 6 usually, and they finish primary school in Slovakia at age of 16. So it's like from 6 to 16, but most of our kids are aged about like 6 to 11, 12. Yeah, 6 to 12, that's the majority of the kids, and we have few or older. Okay. Another question about what do you think about multi-age learning? Well, our 50-something kids, they are usually in groups of something from 2 or 3 to 10, 12. So we usually let them mix in any way they want, and usually it's based on their interest. So, for example, if they are playing Minecraft on computers, it's like all the boys of all ages together. When they are baking in the kitchen, it might be like 5 or 6 people with a really different age. So we do support that as much as possible, because this is how you, for example, learn as an adult, that you come to more experienced, less experienced, more or less capable people, and you join them in their activities. So we definitely see it as important, as reasonable, and supported by science and all the evidence we can find.
And if we have any music programs, right now we don't have any. Just children are bringing what they like, and we spend time as they like, also in connection with music.
It depends on the definition, because in the mornings, when the school bus, which is like 10 people, yeah, not more. So those 10 people, usually the kids, they are usually singing to the music. And for me as a driver, it's quite encouraging that 12-year-old teenager is singing alone in the full bus of people. So
Just because he likes it.
yeah, he likes it, and he's not great at it sometimes, but he definitely wants that, and he likes that. So we kind of do have that kind of music programs. If we encounter any resistance or misconceptions when advocating for educational reform, well,
Yes, we do.
yeah, maybe 7 days a week. Yeah, we do encounter that. Well, we had years of preparation, and we also had to advocate because we are legal primary school. In general, we have all the regulation that government puts on all the schools. We have hundreds of exceptions. Yes, that's right. But we had to advocate them with the research agency at our government. So it was hard. It is still hard. And as the legislation changes, we have to do advocating most of the time, I would say.
And it needs a lot of work when you want to teach children to self-governance, because yeah, you need to talk a lot about it with them and to support them and suggest some things. You need to show them at first, and then they can really join you and learn it from you. But from the beginning, it needs lots of facilitation. And then the older children, they like just pushing it. Yeah, then it goes smoother.
I would also mention that the most problematic are parents or families, then adults working with the kids, and then the kids. So self-governance works best when you leave parents out of it. So we have very clear borders, and we try to document everything with rules, so everybody knows their place. And for example, parents have to ask if they want to come to the gathering, if they can be there, and if they are there, they can vote. So usually the kids try to protect their environment, and they clearly understand many things.
And there's another question about curriculum and testing requirements. So we live in Eastern Europe, Slovakia, and there this kind of schooling is illegal, but we have experiment for 9 years. So Ministry of Education allowed us to test if it works and what comes out of it.
Yeah, we will see 9 years, and the hypothesis in the research. If you want, you can reach us because it's kind of complicated. But in the presentation, there is also a link to brief explanation about the research. But the hypothesis, we say in the hypothesis that our kids would learn on average approximately the same amount of knowledge from curriculum as the usual kids. So yes, we do have testing requirements. In Slovakia, you have to take a government test at the end of the primary school. So after 9 years of being in the school, everybody has to take a test. So we didn't want to touch that because government is quite sensitive on these things. So our kids will take that test. And also we are making some psychological tests in our school and in control group. And we try to find out and determine the score on some like self-governance, self-understanding, emotional things, soft skills. So we do run the tests.
But these tests, like they are research based, and our children they don't have to pass it, so they can do it on 0%. They can excel in it, but like there are no requirements. We just test them to show to government how they do it. Many times our children they don't know how they did the test. They just have to do it.
Yeah, most of the data we gather are qualitative. So we have observations and we write down many things for the case studies and so. Okay, question about how do we recruit parents who understand our philosophy? Well, we would love to have more kids in the school, but we rather try to discourage the parents who just want something alternative. So we talk with them a lot if they are interested. In general, we started school with building a community garden, so anybody can come and take a look and see and experience the free play. We talk to them. So many people were coming from that community garden, and many parents do not understand our philosophy. To be honest, usually kid has two parents, so maybe one is like more liberal in many things. But the grandparents definitely ask when do they start reading and writing, and many questions which kids are not comfortable with. So we try to talk with everybody about their expectations, and also we try to mediate the talks in between of the family. So if you as a parent have expectations that your kid would go to great university, well, we tell them you should tell to your kid because they are telling us that we make them to learn or something, and we tell them, yeah, we can mediate that, but we are not going to deal with your expectations because it's not our problem. Our customer is the kid, and whenever there is some kind of discrepancy or not agreement in the family, we stay with the kid usually, except in the case of something like special education or so.
And also maybe one half of our children, there are children which have like parents are afraid of how would they fit into school system, or there are some children with disabilities or just some specifics, something like that they are more afraid of adult people, that they don't talk so much, that they are more autonomous, or they are introverts. So maybe we have half of such children, and the second half is just people. They're just families for which freedom is important, also in learning.
Question: do you offer parenting classes to get parents on board? Well, we try to educate the parents, but they already went to the primary school, so we try to avoid that also, because we are there for the kids and not to take care of any traumas they have from their childhood or so. Also, we are telling that to our colleagues that we love that you are going through a rough time when you feel or when you're jealous sometimes of what the kids have and you didn't have. We are sorry for that, but you are here for the kids, not for self-treatment of getting better. Yeah, so we do offer some help, but well, we need to be there for the kids.
And maybe we have more complicated process of accepting families, and we talk a lot with parents. Our psychologist is asking parents some questions, some tricky questions, and also like if they are really, we need them to realize if they are really okay with our process of learning or existing in our school community. So we invite them to spend a week with us, and then they can say, okay, we are okay with that, or no way, we don't want to come again.
Another question, how do children and families typically get involved? Is it through schools, NGOs, or directly? Well, they are coming usually on personal recommendation, I would say, because many families do understand that, especially in Slovakia, the system is very rigid. We have 2,000 primary schools in Slovakia, and basically they are all the same. Somewhere you have more sugar and less whip, but in general it's all the same. So many children get or many parents get recommendation from the families that already work with us. A comment we have in the chat, one of my big takeaways is how you two work together as a team. You trust each other, you trust the kids, and you trust the process. You're not looking for a specific outcome.
Yeah.
Yes, especially in the research, we have to be very careful because we are definitely persuaded that this should be working and this should be the foundation of the future schooling system. But we have to be very careful about not touching the research in any wrong way we can imagine. So we have independent universities supervising over us. And the Ministry of Education and school inspection and hygiene officers and all the other people who would like to interfere with what we do. So yes, we are trying and we are hopeful. And by hope, I don't mean that it will end up great, but by hope, I mean my understanding that this makes sense and educational systems need to change.
Mm-hmm. And maybe to the last comment, we are really lucky, and there was also hard work before that, but we are really lucky we can have this experiment for 9 years, because quite a long time, and it's like exceptional in our country. And so we are really glad we can try, and that we can make do research and see some results of it.
Yeah, we are quite lucky. Even in Eastern Europe, it's quite hard to get a setup we have, and as far as we know, it's really quite unique. But if you have a country where the government is willing to listen to the researchers, we would love to spread the research to more countries. Also, in the future, if you want to go to talk to, for example, UNESCO about educational systems, they have pretty hard reports on that worldwide, if you check. The UNESCO will definitely need data from more countries, not only from Slovakia. So if you have a bunch of people, a lot of money, and a lot of courage and free time, we would definitely share and try to make a network of schools which are also sharing the results with academics, and then the governments, policymakers can listen a bit more.
So we would be glad to network if you want to. There our website.
Yeah.
There are contacts to us.
Yeah, two websites. One is about the founder of the school, that NGO with community garden, and you can find also Slobodna Škola in the chat, and we are also open and we welcome visitors. So if you happen to be in Slovakia, stop by and we will give you free lunch, despite it doesn't exist due to economics. But yeah, well, you are welcome to come.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rai. Thank you, Lenka. Thank you so much for amazing presentation. Thanks everyone for asking question. And yeah, so thank you. Tomorrow I will send the follow-up, including the YouTube record and the presentation. And thank you. Tomorrow we have a very important report lunch about the key competencies for in social innovation education, and it will be 2 p.m. in Central European time. Feel free, and Cindy will drop in the chat, yeah, link to join. And again, tomorrow is the final day of the Catalyzing Change week. Such a busy week, and thanks everybody for joining us until today. So feel free to register for more. Tomorrow, I think it's on education and circular economy, I think. So feel free to register to your interested sessions. And thanks. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you so much. Goodbye.